Alright guys, let's go ahead and give my final thoughts on here on the Steel Modus F25. I just did the overview video of this one and wanted to do a full review of this knife after using it and carrying it. Did some cut tests. I'll roll in here in a minute. And one thing I want to highlight is this is on phosphorus bronze washers. There is no indication on their website if it's on bearings or washers, but after doing some, well, just taking the knife apart honestly, that and the tenon here, they both run on phosphorus bronze. So they've really dialed in those detents perfectly, I think, to make these great flippers, even though they're on washers. Just shows that you can make a good flipper on washers. It doesn't have to have bearings to flip well. I think the Modus is just a fantastic budget model. I love the M390 version, so I had to get this one. My only fear on this one was I wouldn't dig the FRN handles, and they have been nice. They have a nice grip to them. They're not overly aggressive. Makes the knife really lightweight. I love the G10 or the aluminum orange backspacer thing that really pops. They also have this in black with I think it's green. Could be wrong. Now my dogs are going crazy barking. This knife came razor sharp out of the box. I really love this blade shape. I mean, you'll see when I do the cut test how easily I went through the cardboard and on that fat wood that I carved up some shavings for. So it's just a fantastic model. I think the Modus is probably my favorite steel wheel knife they make, both in the M390 and in the FRN and D2. I think it's just a fantastic model. Just great ergonomics. The one thing on the FRN handle that I found that I didn't see on the G10 was this. Thank you, dogs, for barking during this video. Was this kind of sticks out a little bit more on the FRN handle one, and on the G10 it doesn't. So I thought it might cause like a kind of a hot spot or be uncomfortable. But as you see when I'm doing the cutting, it doesn't at all affect the performance of the knife, which is nice. And it does make it easier to disengage the lock, so that's always a good thing. So let's go ahead and run in that footage, and we'll give you my final thoughts on this knife. All right, doing some cut tests with the steel wheel Modus F25-13 in D2 and FRN. Love the Modus and M390. Have no doubt in my mind. Oh yeah, that's like a laser through that stuff. Ooh. I love this blade shape. I think it's such a good blade shape for EDC overall general use. Yeah, this is cut through cardboard a little easier than the tenon did. Very smooth. That jimping on there is just right. Let's change our grip just a titch. So there was one thing where I thought there might be an issue with this knife, and I haven't noticed it so far. I'll tell you, it's cutting through this stuff like butter. It's so smooth. Yeah, there's this little liner lock here, and it kind of sticks out. You can kind of notice that, and when I get closer to the tabletop, I'll zoom in on it. But you can kind of feel it there on your index finger, but when you're actually cutting using the knife, it doesn't present itself as a problem, which is nice. Factory edge, again, haven't cut anything with this. Yeah, this one came the sharpest of all the steel wheels I just bought. This one's way sharp. Ooh, yeah. This one's dang sharp. So a little bit sharper than the tenon. Let's do some of that fat wood we've been doing with the other ones. I'm going to cut up a ton of cardboard. I'm confident you can feather pretty good with this. I mean, by no means am I a good feather stick maker either. And this is a pretty soft wood, but this feels very comfortable. So this would also make a good outdoor knife. I kind of thought the tenon would be a little bit better. But if you had to do some wood working and stuff, you got, yeah, that felt really good, actually. So, again, really nice. Brought phosphorus bronze for the flipping action. Let's measure our thickness behind the edge here. Feels a little thinner than the other ones too. At 0.275. So it's actually a little bit thinner behind the edge as well than the Tenant and Resident that I recently tested. So a little thinner behind the edge. And your blade stock on this is going to be thinner than the Tenant, I have a feeling. Actually, right about the same. You're about 0.1245 inches. So it's a little thicker than the Tenant. A little thinner, but the Resident is definitely a thinner blade. But oddly enough, this one, again, I just think it has to do with the factory edge, did not come very sharp. So this one was super sharp. Had no problem going through that wood or that cardboard. It was cutting through that like a laser. Let's see if we can double up some paracord again. See how well it does. Actually, let's even. Let me know what you guys think about the cut tests. I don't always do cut tests in my videos, and I'm trying to do a little bit different format going forward. Like I did those overview videos that are going to be about 7 minutes long. Just kind of go over the basics of the knife, and then do a more in-depth review with some cutting and some of my general thoughts. So let's get that doubled up. Let's see if we can do. Yeah, we'll do that doubled up. This knife came so sharp out of the box. I'm sure it's gonna slide. Yep, slides right through that paracord. No big deal. Which it should, So overall, it did the best as far as the cardboard cutting of all the steel wheels. I think it was even a little bit better on the fat wood, and then on the rope, it's about even probably the same. So. Overall, handle is fantastic. It's very comfortable, very ergonomic. No hot spots, no fatigue, doing some of these cuts. I'm trying to see if I noticed that, and I just don't. Oh, that thing is just slicing like butter. I just love that sheep's foot blade shape. I think it's so good for this kind of stuff. Just a better overall EDC blade shape in my opinion. Love it. So. Not feeling that. I thought that might be an issue, but when you actually use it and stuff, you don't feel that liner lock that kind of sticks out a little bit. And I love how well they've dialed in the detent of these things with their washers. That's just amazing. So, good stuff. Alright guys, so as you saw in the cut test, this knife just excelled at cutting the paracord, cutting the cardboard, carving up that fat wood. I mean, just did everything right. Fantastic model. I really dig it. I love I'm going to keep the M390 version of this knife for sure. I think if you're on a budget, the D2 version is an awesome option, and I could see, if you can't afford the M390, go with this one for absolutes, because it's a great knife for the money. That's going to wrap up. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about was it does have, I mentioned it was on phosphorus bronze washers, and I talked about the thickness behind the edge and all that stuff, but it does have skeletonized liners, and both sides do have a liner. Now the G10 model does not have a liner because it's just a solid G10 scale. It only has a liner on one side. So but they obviously didn't think Efron was strong enough, so they put a stainless steel liner on this side. But the knife is still very lightweight. I went over the specs in my overview video, but we'll just go ahead and weigh it real quick just to show you. It's around 3.4 ounces. So very lightweight EDC knife. Very versatile, can do quite a bit. Love that sheep's foot modified Wharncliffe blade shape. It reminds me so much of the ZTO 770, which was one of my favorite knives, but I just didn't like it because it was assisted. And Steve will also be releasing this knife in carbon fiber very soon with M390 steel, and that's the one I think I'm gonna really want. So that's gonna wrap it up, guys. Definitely recommend this. One of my favorite budget knife of the year, if not the budget knife of the year. That video will be coming out soon, before the end of the year. Maybe even beat this video out. We'll see. This is another contender, the Tenant and the Modus, both by Steel Will. If you're not into this company, I suggest you do so, because I have 4 of their knives right now, and that tells you one thing. They're making really good quality stuff. I'm pretty picky. I've been doing this knife review thing for a long time, and had hundreds of knives over the years. and I have some pretty high-end stuff, and I've had customs, and I'll tell you that these knives impress me. And that's not, I shouldn't say that's not easy to do anymore, but it's really not. I'm super picky, and I would definitely recommend all 3 of these models that I've recently purchased for review. So I would definitely recommend anything by Steel Will. I think it's, you know, they're a fantastic company. I think they're really up and coming. They have that new ant lock coming out, which was supposed to be out in 2017. It looks like it's not going to happen because here we are at the end of 2017. But all right, guys. Anyway, I'm rambling, so let's wrap up the video. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know what's your thoughts. If you like this new format, doing an overview, then a full review with some cut tests and such. It is more work for me, but I think it is better quality content for you guys. So let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.